Hey everyone, Nick here again, back to talk about Fear the Walking Dead. This is my review of episode 11 and 12 because I just completely forgot to do a review of episode 11 last week, so I'm just gonna combine them both into this one. So I'll just get right into it since I gotta review two episodes. I'll start with episode 11. I thought this episode was refreshingly lighthearted, I don't mind saying. It's been pretty grim for a while now. Like, this whole season's been good, but it has not been particularly happy. But this episode had some rather lighthearted and even funny moments. Most of the funny moments came courtesy of the new characters. And, I mean, they were all very entertaining. Particularly Wendell and Sarah. Like, they have such a great dynamic with each other. They're hilarious together. I really enjoyed them. I mean, I was enjoying them, and then they kind of turned on Morgan. I'm like, oh, come on, I like you two. Like, I felt bad that all of a sudden they turned bad because I was enjoying them. But, you know, that's not to say that they are bad, because they kind of turned back a little. Morgan's good at reeling people back from the dark side. Speaking of Morgan, he was still the star of the episode, and he got some development in this episode that was very engaging and honestly even a little thought-provoking. Like when he's stuck on top of the car, when he's talking on the walkie to whoever's listening, he's like, "I'm a coward," and it's like, you don't want to agree that he's a coward, but you can't really disagree with what he's saying. So there's like some conflict there as to how you feel about it, which is always impressive to do. There was one part of the episode that I really found kind of forced. The part where other new character Jim, the beer maker, he bumps into him and knocks him down a hill and right into the path of a bunch of walkers. And, I mean, that was extremely forced, although I will say that the eventual resolution, him fighting his way through with a nail clipper and a sign, was pretty impressive. The resolution was exciting. It was just the setup that felt a little forced to me. Best performance of the episode, I'm going to give it to Lenny James. He was consistent as always. Like, he brings the intensity to Morgan every single time he's on screen, and this was no different. Overall, I'm going to give episode 11 an 8 out of 10. It was imperfect, but it was fun, and like I said before, it was refreshing. A nice, more positive, upbeat change of pace, which I appreciated. Moving on to episode 12 now. Coleman Domingo's directorial debut, I might add. And this episode was well made, but honestly, I found it to be a little slow. Like, my reaction video was not particularly long, and sometimes, if it's not that long, that just means that I was just really engaged in the episode, but I'm not saying I wasn't engaged with this one, it was less so than usual, and it just felt a little slower than I would have liked. Althea got some good development this week. We're finally starting to get some more glimpses of her past, that she did have people that she loved. We don't really know exactly what that means, because, you know, it could be family, or it could be friends, you know. It could be coworkers even. You never really know anymore what people mean by loved ones. So that's still a little up in the air, but we know she did have people that she cared about now, which I suspected. And honestly, my suspicion is that she had a kid that she has lost along the way, much like June. Speaking of June, she was cemented as a beast in this episode. I mean, she went after Al's truck alone and successfully fought off the thief. I mean, yeah, she kind of lucked out that it was only one guy, but still, she didn't know that. And still, one guy still could have beaten her, but she fought him off pretty well, and yeah, I was impressed. And this was just a turning point for June, I think. And going forward, I think she's going to keep on growing and becoming even tougher, and people are going to be even more impressed with her as time goes on. In episode 11, we met 4 new characters, and none of their, like, morality alignments were particularly clear just yet. But in this episode, it became pretty clear. Morgan's new friends, Wendell, Sarah, and Jim, they're definitely true neutral with the potential to grow into neutral good. Like, I think it's safe to say they are on Morgan's side now. Like, they're helping him because they just want to go to Virginia to see what it's like there, because it sounds like a good setup, and it is. As for the grungy lady, whose name is still unclear, so I'm just going to keep calling her the grungy lady, she was established as being chaotic evil. Yeah. That's just when there's no rhyme or reason to it, you just want to be evil. The world ending was the best thing that ever happened to her because she got the chance to be evil. And she's going to be a problem going forward, and I'm really interested to see what happens, because I don't think we're done losing main characters this season. Like I said, the episode was kind of slow. It had too many lulls in the episode for my liking. Too many scenes just seemed to go unnecessarily long, like the beginning with Al and June at the truck. I mean, that could have been 2 minutes shorter without much effect on the overall story. So, it kind of felt like some of this episode was a bit padded out. So, that was a little disappointing, I guess. Best performance of the week? I'm giving this one to Jenna Elfman because of the emotion she had in the scenes where she was seeking medicine for Al, and it was pretty obvious that it was a callback to when she failed to get meds for her daughter, who died and somehow killed an entire FEMA shelter. I still haven't figured out how one zombie took out an entire FEMA shelter, but, you know, whatever. The point is, her emotion and acting in this episode was really good, and Jenna Elfman is just one of the biggest surprises of this show for me. She just keeps impressing me more and more every single time she appears. Overall, I'm going to give episode 12 a 7 out of 10. It was a good episode. It showed that Coleman Domingo can direct, but it did have some very slow pacing, in my opinion, and this season has been really good so far, and this was a good episode. Like I said, I'm not trying to sound like I hated this episode, because I didn't, but this was definitely my least favorite episode of the season so far. So yeah, that'll do it for my reviews. I will see you next time.